banners ni polisi walikuwa wamejaa tao na banners zilikuwa mingi, so the moment ningebeba nianze kuzipeana and they were all over. Ukienda hii kona unakutana na polisi, niliona sitaki kurisk, naweza bebewa pikipiki yangu irushe ndani ya gari iende kuozea huko police station na mimi sina pesa ya kuitoa ndani. That's the reason why I didn't give out the banners. For anyone who has any question to that. Otherwise, simulale vile mnataka bana. Hasira imepanda, hata msichana ukipata saa hii huwezi shikashika yeye vile inafaa juu ya hasira.
Guys, tusikue demoralize. Watu wanakaa demoralize. Me actually I'm so happy. I don't know, like tumejua tumejua mahali kuna shida, because personally nyinyi mnajam na personally mimi niliongea na Otero. He has so minute details about all these things, so I am like nashtuka hata nini inaendelea. Nilishtuka moja, but kuna hii mnajuanga tu mistrust inatokelezeanga from the betrayal inatokelezeanga from the closest people you know. Hata mimi people are selling us out to the government bloggers, na mali tumefika, we are deep in the abyss. So msiogope atio mwanze mfeel demoralized. Otero was not the leader of the movement, you know this. He was not the leader of the movement. Hata mimi sasa hivi nikitoka, I am not the leader of the movement. Next Anifa akitoka, she is not the leader of the movement. So hii kitu nataka iendelee, na tukirelent watajua walituweza na Otero walinua Twitter yote, because Otero ni Twitter. Do you want to be like that? Do you want to be owned? So nataka tusifeel tuko so drained, tunafeel energetic. Ndio tumeanza kindly. Beverly, unaweza ongea ama Mbiti?
Thank you. Nimeji excuse niongee juu nataka kutoka kwenye niko mwanzo. Thank you for the mic. The president is going to do us bad things. I don't know who is listening here, but let me just say this. Unaona vile sahi ametuanza kutudivide. Wale watu wenye ni stumbling block kwa uongozi yake yenye anasema ni ya miaka 10 wataanza tu kupotea pole pole. Kama yule mtu wa security alikuwa anaitwa sijui Mwenda Mbiju, hajaijulikana kwa wapi hadi sahi. And again, sijui ni jana ama ni juzi, they were reading hiyo auditor general wa serikali. Alipeana so many loopholes kwenye vitu zimepotea, pesa imepotea. Saa hii we were the ones wenye tungeenda kuuliza. But ona kwenye tuko we are here discussing vile tumedivide. So huyo mama wa health anataka kuwalk out na hiyo sijui 9 billion yenye ilipotea kwa NHIF and other departments. If we keep quiet and we start fighting, Bevu ulipewa ngapi? Bevu kwaje? We are going to lose it, because once Raila alideclare anaenda AU, Ruto alijua akona loophole, akajua sahi akona inaitwaje vacuum. Nobody is going to question him. And if you realize hiyo ndio ameanza kufanya vitu mbaya nyingi until akapata shock ya sisi wenye tulikuwa wengi, na ameshindwa atahonga nani, until akafind the few people who quote and quote thought they were influential, na ameenda amewachukua na amefanya nini, amefanya vile amefanya. Until now here we are. For those of us who were arrested, wakati tuliingia kwa hizo cells kulikuwa na wasichana wadogo very young. I think ni wasichana wa campus and some of them were mother form 4. They were crying wakati hiyo mlango ilifungwa. Hata mimi ni mara yangu ya kwanza kushikwa. But those girls who were crying, what are we going to tell them? Like tulienda kwa barabara kushtua serikali, imetushtua back, tumeingia kwa nyumba, tumeanza kulia. And now, I think a good number of us, sahi tumefika age ya kuoa na kuolewa. We are going to give birth to kids. If these things are going to be made laws in this country, it will be even hard for our kids to have better education. Hata sisi tumefanya free education. Watoto wenye tutazaa watateseka. Because the few of us ndio watakuwa wana afford pesa kidogo ya hata kupeleka watoto CBC. Look at the president leo. Amesema, hiyo time alikuwa anafanya press, I'm going to do changes shortly. Kumba anaingia huko ndani kwa nyumba, hakufanya changes. Sahi tuko hapa, like ni kama nyumba ilikuwa inachomeka, akatumwagia hewa kidogo tukatulia. Until sahi, mimi nilikuwa nadhani akitoka hapa anatuma email kwa media houses awaambie these are the people who are going home. Actually angefanya hapo if at all he was serious. Amekuja hapa, amecheka na sisi and he has left. And that's how ameanza kupoesha hiyo moto pole pole. And the people, the likes of Kimani, Chungwa and the other, when you're the majority in the Senate and the National Assembly, they are going to laugh at us. They are going to say finally, ona vile wako nini. Tukipoteza hivi 2027 we are going to have the same people and they are going to do us bad things. Sasa yule president alisema watu wa serikali au civil servants wamekuwa bad from coming to Harambee. That's not enough. He could have said wenye wameifanya hizo Harambee waanze kuauditiwa. Sijui kama wanaruhusiwa kuauditiwa wakiwa kwa ofisi. Waanze kuauditiwa saa hii tujue hiyo pesa alikuwa anatoa wapi, because there is no way you are going to give out those millions and your salary is not even a quarter of what you are giving out. Wangeanza kuauditiwa. So sasa amesema kwa wafanyikazi wote wa serikali msiende Harambee, endeleeni kuiba na mfunike mdomo mkule polepole. Hiyo pesa mnapeka Harambee kuwafunika macho, let it be. Also, you see vile tulianza kuongea hii mambo ya finance bill, it's not like, of course we have our wins, but it's not like tumewini sana. Hatujui after hizo siku zimeisha what is going to happen. For the few of you here, wenye mmeshiishi, that is, wenye mlizaliwa kitambo, you know how the government does. Wakati, let me use the Raila as an example, sorry, wafuasi wake. Wakati Raila alienda kufanya mambo ya BBI, is it BBI? Huko Harambee House, akina David India, akina Mudavadi and so many people walitoka kwa kampi yake. Wakati walitoka wakasema ametuuza, ametubetray. Ruto akaenda akanunua hao watu. Sasa hao watu wanafanya nini? Anakula na wao. Who is feeling bad? Ni sisi na kina Raila. So Ruto is going to buy those people who are pretending to be our leaders, naenda kuwatumia kutumaliza sisi. Mimi hapa nimekuwa, and for some of you in this space I can see too, who hosted me, bibi na bwana na mimi wakinihost hizo siku zenye nilikuwa nadhani nitawao. Hata I wish I knew wange nimaliza, ningekuwa nimeuza chipo zangu hata siku 2. Kimuzi unakumbuka siku nyingine ikiuza kitu kwa DM. And for you, by the way, if you're here and you are small wig, vile huwa mnasema small wig na big wig. If you have Intel and you feel like unataka kuiweka kwa TL, eka kutoka kwa account yako. Eka kutoka kwa account yako, heri utumie mtu link, a like ama a retweet, kuliko kwanza kutumia watu vitu DM. Hao watu ndio watakupeana na watasema information unajua. Utapata unatolewa huko kwenyu Kisii, unaenda kuuawa for no reason, just because you had something na ukaamua kudia mtu just because they have a large following. To end this, mimi at the moment, kitu yenye imeniogopesha ni we are losing focus. Kwanza kesho we are back to Ruto must go. Kwa Kikisi wanasemanga umuntu ganye mbere ndiye afanye kitu mbaya. Inamaanisha wakati umeua mtu ama mtu amekufa while you are doing something, you wait until hiyo kaburi yake imee nyasi ndio uende kusema alikuwa na dini yangu, tulifanya nini naye. But today when people who we were with, they were being buried, is when some of us are going to dine with the killer. It's very bad. Hata kaburi yao haijafika huko chini, hata wako wameloa mzazi wake, wale wazazi wenye, those of us who were in this demonstration, wale wazazi wenye watoto wao wamekufa ama watoto wenye wazazi wao wamekufa, saa hii wakianza kusema kumbe mama yangu yeye alikuwa ama mtoto wangu alikuwa nadhani hii kitu iko serious, akaenda mkaa mstari wa mbele amekufa, kumbe it was all planned from the word go. Let's not be that way. And for us to maintain until 2027, wengi watajikata, wengi watalipwa, wengi watakufa. For the few people who are going to make it to 2027, just in case some of us die or something happen, ama hata tufunga ama tusijulikana kwenye tulienda, ama anyone, please make sure you continue fighting. Sahi kama president anataka kufuta, wanaita kufuta ama reshuffle hao watu, CS, waende nyumbani na hiyo pesa yenye wameiba according to the auditor general. Na hiyo ndio pesa sisi tunafaa kuendelea kulipa. Kumbuka hiyo pesa ilikopwa and then nasikia sijui ministry fulani imepewa pesa fulani, haijafanya kazi, but we continue paying. And kumbuka inaendanga na interest. So until when are we going to have a better education? Until when tutaacha kwenda kufanya masters outside the country? Mi juzi nimenyimwa visa ya US, I was going to do a masters, but here I am nateseka. Is not like I'm better. Sikia walimu wameanza kulipa 17,000. Sieri niuze chipo zangu, I learn a salon, acha nifanye mashauri zangu, nifanye vitu zingine za maana, because but sasa mimi mtoto mwenye nitaza hiyo ndio maisha atakuja kufanya kuuza chipo kwa barabara. Can we continue fighting for a better Kenya? And for you watu wenye mko diaspora, mtu asiwahi Twitter akiwaambia eti anaongea hivyo na yuko Kenya. If you were in Kenya ungekuwa unapitia hiyo maisha, na hauko Kenya because Kenya is not favorable. Na hiyo country yenye huko laws are working. Why is it that we have a 2010 constitution that is not working? And among the irreducible minimums zenye tunaenda kuweka sahi, let's include the president in it executive to respect the constitution of Kenya. Si wakati mimi nimeiba na piwa fine ya 10 million, mtu amedivert pesa kutoka NHIF ya 9 billion yako huko ako free, anakuja hapa kutuambia and my information I don't know accountability. Shut up mama, we ni mwizi. Only that huwezi fikiwa sahi, your time will come. Tell me how. Obado sahi anasema anarudisha hiyo pesa. Anarudisha aje? So aliiba. anarudisha ndiye kukaa kwa the government. There are so many bad dirty things that are happening that if we get divided they'll walk away, and it's our money guys. Ona sahi tunateseka, president amekataa kuajiri for the next 1 year according to the budget, eti ndio wapate pesa wafanyie nini? Waibe, wapeleke every ministry waibe, ama wanamchoteanga baadaye because there is no way he's keeping quiet. Anyway, mi nasikia vibaya and I'm still not okay. But just in case of anything, muendelee kufight. If they kill you or they kill me, wenye mnabaki continue fighting. Hawa watu wanadhani country ni yao. The day has come and they'll have to do. Hii kitu yenye Chebukati alipea Ruto, atarule na sisi vile tunataka. Si atakuwa na make vitu ka anakuja kutufanya sisi ni mafala, tunaingilia tunasema the president has said. We are going to go hapa na hapa. And we have too much to say, but I have to go. Thank you, bye.
Beverly, that was nice. I'll have the following people in order. Think wameka kwa space sana. Andy, Bella, and Jamrick. In that order, please. Andy, Bella, Jamrick.
Bella anaweza anza kidogo ni sort out kitu moja alafu then I continue.
So no pressure, Bella.
Hey guys, mnanisikia?
Tunasikia.
Oh,
Hi.
hey. Mi by this sijui hata nianze wapi, sijui ni kujam, sijui ni kufeel tu umebeba ufala. Hey my god. Because mbona hata tulikuwa tunapush hizo tags sijui free what nonsense gani hiyo. Na sasa ndo vitu mingi zina make sense because why Osama anyway. Kuna kitu nimeona Ombachi ame kwa tweet ya Hanifa akamshow when you're running a race, you don't keep looking back because uta trip and fall. Chenye tumeachieve so far by the ni tuseme tumeachieve a lot. Hata kama hatuja kuna ile tweet Kimuzi alikuwa ameweka ya the things, the bare minimum zenye wanataka Ruto afanye. So hata tuseme ni 80% of that, it's better than zero. But betrayal huwa inadunga heart mali ungeamini, like una feel some sort of pain that you didn't know you would feel. As much as huwezi sema ni direct that much kama watu wenye wame lose their loved ones, like Rex, like that basically ama itwa, yes, that guy. Yani it's just so sad. Na ndo nimeona sahi like how people are asking questions because sijui ni ile fear ya kuuliza maswali at that time. Hiyo time watu walikuwa wamejam sana about the finance bill. Sijui ni hiyo fear that ungeuliza tu swali hivi watu wakurukia because a lot of things didn't make sense. So many abductions, but unajua tuko tu hapo, you're just we are like no, none of us has to die through this. We are doing this together up to the end. Kumbe tunapush tag za watu bana wako state house wana sign checks. My lord. Ara so many abductions could make sense. Kuna ile Anyeri, kuna anyway, hata sianze kubana hapa, lakini pia Osama na juu kwa hii space unasikiza na masudo accounts. Au comes unasemanga your remote juu ya Sony ilibebwa na ulishikwa kwa ya BNB. Unatembeanga na ikiwa simu, ikiwa watch ama exactly ikiwa nini. Litubeba ufala by then ile siku ya space yako ile the long space ile siku Billy was abducted. Pia Billy as fake as they all show. Kwendeni huko. Ati nani Kipchumba anasema I know you Osama. By the way, that was a red flag, but hatukuona hivyo pia that time. Tulifikiria you're just as famous as you make Twitter look like. Nika Twitter ni yako. By the way, Twitter si yako. Vile unamkanga hivi mtu sijui una feel ati war is war, unamkia watu, unaanza kuweka space kupasha watu. Twitter si ya mama ya mtu. And oh please, yeah, thank you for betraying us. At least tumejua. Vile tu 5 people amesema kwa kama mko kwa safari kila mtu akifika stage yake unashuka. Ameshukia stage yake. Tutabaki vile na vile Beverly amesema wenye watabaki hadi 2027 ama whatever time. Ikifika point una feel it's your time to alight the bus, please alight, let the rest continue. Si discourage mtu. We either in this fight together or not. Anyway, another thing on hii juu sahi bado tuko na hasira, we are still mad. Mali hasira nataka to direct ni Monday at the Ministry of Health tuna occupy MOH na convince ndio people kama mko hapa mjue tunakuja on Monday. You have to post interns and yes, say watatea interns and other irreducible minimums. Najua nao KMPDU mnaweza itwa State House hii weekend. Pia nyinyi mjidishi, by the way, hamna adabu. Nini mkasavu hiyo chakula na mpewe hizo checks. But Monday tuko MOH, tupata nini huko? Otherwise, thank you for the space, Kimuzi, and your people in your diaspora. Hata hiyo pesa yote mmechanga. And condolences to all the families that have lost their loved ones. Rest in peace, Rex. You're buried today with Paisley and the other one. May God rest their souls in peace. Everyone who betrayed you guys, I just hope damu yao watoto tu walilie, because aki watu everyone has a prize, but it's okay. Otherwise, you guys sleep well, but Monday tuna occupy MOH, okay? Have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Hello, before anyone speaks, ndio nilikuwa napitia Terry. You know, there is too much notifications hata uonani. Nimeona mahali Miguna said shut up NIS idiot, and many people are believing, which is given. Si shida watu kubelieve mtu anaweza kuwa NIS or anything, but it's inappropriate at this given time, because na feel betrayed the same way nyinyi na feel betrayed na Otero. And for those who know me, or for those who have interacted, they know I cannot say accept pesa. I cannot be bought. Like say accept canning. I always say activism comes from the heart. Inatoka kwa moyo, like inatoka kwa roho. Si kitu ya kulipwa. Hata uofa au pesa ngapi, you can't. So I don't want to argue with Miguna junikani cheesy. Junikiargue nice, like I'll be giving him the chance ya kunini. But how comes me ni NIS na niko hapa nafanya menial jobs trying to get a living? It doesn't make sense. So I have just seen that, and many people I'm seeing they are believing, saying, oh, kumbe ni hivi, oh, kumbe ni hivi, until someone saying ati Kimuzi na Otero wali agree, Otero akuwe ni mwenye anaenda ile side, ndio mimi ni shout for the traitors. No, fuck anyone mwenye anakuwa traitor kwa hii kitu. Like mimi niko hadi mwisho. And for your information, I want to clarify one thing ya Occupy State House last week. The space ilikuwa one of the biggest, na watu walikuwa people were so charged, and many people called, and many people walikuwa nalenga calls na text kwa naona, because mimi nilikuwa to focus na Occupy State House. But sikuwa najua people are going to breach the State House walls. And secondly, hata wange breach hatuna IBC. That's why I had tweeted that morning about IBC, which means if we are to do this thing right, we are doing the right way through constitution. So tukitaka hii kitu ipenye, we should follow the constitution. So yakatukuambia that time many people called, and nilikuwa nalenga calls until I pick one, and it was somebody from military mwenye aliniexplainia, alikuwa yako one of the friends akaniexplainia, akaniambia mnaweza breach, but after that military can take over. And I explained with the whole truth the next day. So I'm wondering, but anyway, saizi kuna hiyo confusion. Somebody said safari inaanza, kuna wenye watadrop, kuna wenye watakuwa confused. I don't have any problem. Saizi mtu akikuwa accused akuja na facts. Ukikuja na solid facts, unaona kama Otero sahi we know is a sellout, because hakuna mali atajificha, like asha sell soul yake. So mtu kama mimi, kama uko na facts or anything, just say it. Like nashangaa, unajua kuna mahali unafikanga hata uwezi argue na mtu, because utaargue mbona sasa, because you are on the right track of kutetea justice. Haina haja uanze sijui, hata ningekuwa nafungua space kai ya nini watu wa jam, what reason nianze kufeka Otero hadi the last minute anatoka watu, what reason? Tuko tunaulizana hata na Anifa, mbona mtu aende hadi mwisho? And I asked Anifa knew this. Nilimuuliza asubuhi leo, mbona huku niambia mimi niseme? Mimi singeogopa kusema last week, ama sijui when atina huyu amenunuliwa, which personally I know which personally alinunuliwa, because niliona yeye alianza kutweet tusiende status, which was the first one, and he has been against the movement since last week. So I have known so many people here were bought. So ukiwa na info, mimi siogopi, mimi nitasema tu, mimi nitataja, because we are doing the right thing, and hautufai kuwa na watu wenye anaweza chenye Otero amefanya ni kama mtu mwenye umeenda place then anakudunga kisi ya mgongo. juu ako nyuma yako anakuguide kwa tunnel ati tunatafuta kitu, then anakudunga kisi ya mgongo. Same. You should never accept money for activism. That's why I always go against Boni. That's why I'm always against Boniface Mwangi, and he knows this. Because I don't accept activism yenye inalipwa. Either watch activism ama usikubali pesa. Usiwahi kubali pesa for activism. It doesn't work that way. Nilisikia mtu hapa akisema ati hata kaa ni 10 million I can sell my soul. No, you should never say hata kaa ikuwe priceless, hata billion. Just leave activism. Wewe fanya biashara yako, kuwa politician. That's what I'm just trying to put across. So Jelani, naona umeinua mkono, you can talk. Niko just pissed off na Miguna because ni mwenda wazimu wako Canada. Siwezi sema ni somebody I know or anything, but unajua sasa hivi nikisema Jelani you are a traitor, ulilipwa 5 million, people will believe me because it's Kimuzi and many people believe me. You know that. Anyway, it's okay.
Jelani,
I wanted to say I'm
Jelani.
so grateful to Hanifa because she didn't, even when she found out this information, hakutuambia. Because if she had told us, if anybody had told us this last week, hatunge believe. The same way Oduk has been tweeting all these things and then we think he's a madman and we don't believe him. Hakuna mtu angebelieve history ya Osama because of how he was tweeting. And her silence is what has allowed Osama has painted this picture for himself. Yeye tu na brush stroke yake akatutwitia hizo vitu zote, akachocha watu, akaandika hizo vitu zote aliandika, and then finally revealed himself as the traitor that he is. So it is very good. It's very good that Hanifa did not come and announce, oh, this person is a traitor. And there's something Khalif said that was so important. He said, the truth, you can't hide the truth and you can't hide the sun. So it's hii kitu hata hakuna point ya kushinda tukisema oh, so and so was paid, so and so is on this payroll, so and so. The truth will come out. Hakuna venye utajificha. There's no way you'll spend all day lying to people on the internet and pretending you're part of the movement and this thing doesn't come out. Itatokelezea. It might not even be today, it may not be next week, but the truth will come out. Another thing I want to say, this divide and rule thing, it's been very, very effective. That day for Occupy State House, we had the space. We had the space that had 100K plus people, and everyone was very, very charged. And then Kimuzi's space dropped. When Kimuzi's space dropped, nikaweka space because I couldn't reach him. I was trying to call him, I couldn't reach him. So nikaweka space. My space didn't have that many people, I think, who were like about maybe 20K. Quite the second space, by that point, there was already people tweeting and writing, oh, Msiende State House, oh, and then I remember tweets that were being written at me and Kimuzi, we are beating war drums and we are even in diaspora. Hata hatuko huku home, kazi yetu ni kuambia watu waende State House wakauliwe huko. So I had to clarify in my space, nikasema me personally I was for occupying State House, but if it means mtaenda huko kukufa, I don't want you to die. And what then happened, because Gerald Bitok was on that space the next day, how bloggers, the same bloggers who used to spread COVID propaganda, na mwende mwangalie timelines zao, because I remember that kitu gani group, those agency fools, those same people the next day ndio walikuwa huku wakizunguka wakisema oh, Jelani this, Kimuzi that. They were busy spreading like just information to make it seem like Mimi, because I said people should go to State House, or because I was holding spaces and everything, Mimi ndio mbaya. And this thing has been going on every single day. Unasikia story, leo tena imekuwa Kimuzi ni NIS, kesho, like it's just very efficient propaganda. It's extremely efficient propaganda. And we have to decide, as people who are pushing this thing online, we have to decide, tunasimama upande gani? What is the message that we are pushing? We put aside all these side shows, we put aside all this trying to bring people down, and we work together. Me, that's what I think. As of Osama, deplatform him. If you're still following him, unfollow him. Watch, msirudi kumpea any more attention. Wacha hiyo pesa amekula, in Kikuyu we say nega nwone shuaria. Iyo pesa amekula wacha atosheke na iyo. Like let him not have another platform here, let him not have even all the power you people have given him, where you can't even call him out when he's doing BS. Like a couple of weeks ago, I think he was attacking Molage, and then there was a time he was attacking Guantai, and then there was another time he was attacking Kalasinga. None of you ever call him out. You guys are just there laughing in his mentions. Now see what he has done. Now see what he has done. So we just need to deplatform him. That's what we need to do. Wacha nisikasirike sahi. Let's give somebody else a chance to speak.
Jamrek, please go next. Then Andy.
Like unajua the funny thing is we Ricky pia wewe you not a man enough, you get, najua ulikomment follow and everything, una get, hata side like ni I think his space after me co-hosted and niko like hey, I'm texting Ricky, naona Ricky ameniunfollow bro. I'm like bro, what the fuck is this? Unajua like mi nataka ku prove my point out, but I think Ricky is just nasemaje, you're not different from Osama, unaget ile kumeni
Motherfucker. Alisema akipewa 5 million hata yangefold mbwa sana
Bro,
huyo.
sasa cheki. Personally, mimi
bro, weni malaya, unajua hauna stand, unaget.
sawa.
Jamrix kwanza ujue wewe ulinunuliwa, you are a sellout. Wewe ni mtu ajugezi, sijui mbona unafanya nini hapa.
Unasikia bro, mimi sijadaiwa ku fucking shit, unaget.
Jamrix, listen. Huyu Jamrix ni sellout. Huyu Jamrix is just like huyo Tero.
Jamrix, you're the last person who should talk kwanza. Wewe motherfucker kwanza ulituuza kitambo.
Alituuza kitambo Itumbi donkey.
Mimi nilikuwa fucking elected na people bro.
Nani amempea mic? Nani amempea Jamrix mic?
Mimi
nilikuwa nichaguliwa na watu.
Mimi nimempea mic.
Toa msee bana. Wewe ni sellout.
Majamaa acha niongee bwana.
Decorum kidogo.
Mbiti
Wacha
you
niongee
can go on.
wazee, tumeanza side shows. I hope mnanisikia fiti. I think I have several things to say. I'll pick from what Kiminzi said because I'm one of those people who, I think that space that Lee and Kiminzi hosted, I was one of those people. And by fact that you are given such a platform to host people and to drive a narrative, I would get so many calls. Hey, Maze, you're doing well. Thanks for that platform. When you're able to host such a huge number of people, you have that basis. One thing that I wanted to say is what Kimozi has said. I think when you are perceived to be a leader or an influencer for this case, whereby whatever you say affects quite a number of people, you have that kind of privilege, you also become a target. Today I said there is somebody who sent me something about people, and guys were saying just release names. I think it's not fair because you have heard, you see, Kimizo has had attacks. I've had attacks. Even the something that you say, people think that you're infiltrated. Yesterday we were among of those people. The government bloggers were saying, and if I see which age, Kimuzi is what age. That is part of what you expect in this. I'll speak about number one, what has been said, that I've always said this since time immemorial, that we are so many. Even when guys were bashing, I'm one of those people who's always very reluctant to attack someone. When guys were bashing Cairo, and some people were tagging me, ubeste yako anatuangusha, ubeste yako anachoma. I told them, sometimes I can never. I'm one of those people who don't come and see a tomb say ametuuza, because I'm one of those believers that the truth always comes out. So this kind of things, the biggest propagandist, most effective to do propaganda in government, and of course divide and rule is one of those things. We look at a person they can approach to cause chaos. Number two, I want to talk about these abductions that you're talking about. During that time, I used to get so many calls. Mpaka kuna space yenye Kimuzi anasema nilikuwa co-host. Nilikuwa kwa border bana huko Kenya na Uganda, because even my friends call me, put a tag, they're coming for you and those kind of things. Funny thing, I never got any call or anything about being abducted or anything that, like a threat or anything of that sort. And for me, that brings me to the issue of integrity and the conscience and those kind of things. I don't know how people think 1 or 2 million of those kind of things can ever change your life. It's quite actually a very small amount of money. If, for example, mse kama Osama alikuwa na very big platform, huyu mse angetaka akuwe serious, angekuwa naingiza mita, at least mita per month, just by the platform that he had, just by the outfits that he had. I'm one of those people who don't really understand what happened, but my psychology tells me that he's one of those people. If you look, and what pisses me the most is the disingenuity. Yesterday niliquote hiyo tweet ya Hussein nikasema let's have a parallel space, na nikata Kimuzi na Osama nikwambia what you do, let's have a shadow space such that chenye wao sio na spew on the other side we have a big platform, we can have our own shadow space. And this morning I wake up and I text Kimuzi, I told you I have an idea. If for example the president in his space will be talking about maybe health, maybe because for me I'm a person who is issue oriented. I'm very, for example, interested in healthcare. So if the president is giving wrong information about healthcare, about education, let's have people actually who can come and give the banks. For example, I had even a very good evidence of all the scandals that I've been having in healthcare and why Nakuminja must go. People in education, whichever field.
Mbiti, can I intercept you
Okay.
kiasi to 30 seconds?
Okay.
Actually, yesterday I had proposed we had a parallel space yenye tutakuwa tuna debunk the president. I even have the tweet, just like when Trump and Biden were having an interview with CNN. Robert Kennedy had his own interview with other panel of journalists wenye walikuwa wanamuuliza maswali exactly yenye wanauliza Trump and Biden. So I had actually suggested what we are seeing, and I'm sorry sikuwa na DM because ilikuwa imejaa. I'm seeing it now na tumeongea naye sasa hivi. Sawa.
Yeah, so that was my idea because again, let's not get I don't like also people being emotional and losing logic, because the only way we are going to get whatever you want is when it becomes logical. So I had this idea that we just have something sober, because if the president is going to have his space, people are not going to of course he's protected, they cannot allow such kind, so we have logic. So I had this idea of a shadow, exactly what you're saying about, and I texted you the same thing. And I texted Kimozi because I saw Lemayan had done a poster, and you guys, there was even actually a poster. So Osama quoted my tweet and he said, war is war, whatever that shit is. And people actually, so we were set. So me, I'm waking up and I'm expecting this, and then and then Osama texts me to be around 10, 11, tells me, bro, namuuliza form ni gani, are we set for the space? Akaniambia there's something that is ati kuna makosa imefanyika, I'll be the host. So I asked him, host, of course you and Kimuzi are supposed to be host. Akaniambia is going to host the space ya president. Akasema hey, so akaniambia I want you to speak what you have to speak about healthcare, and I tell him hey, okay, let me think about it. And so I think about it and I ask myself, number one, there was no communication, because I'm expecting we are preparing for this space. People are all psyched up. Even guys were calling me, guys were DMing me, space in others and happy and those kind of things. Because once you're in such a position of privilege, you understand that people actually believe in you, like people have said. You are given that position whereby you're supposed to influence and guide people. It goes without saying that there will be those people, by the fact that you hold that position, like I noted yesterday about the space. And I've always been one of those people who was against people attending the president's space from the word. But you realize even people who think they have logic, ikakuwa sasa who is going to host the president? Ni kama mnalipwa host the president. I don't know, you want your profile to I don't know what comes with hosting the space. People actually sending the president, we want you to host us. And I came to realize like, hey, there are very few people in this shit who are very genuine about it. People forget that people have died. People forget that we are burying people. People forget that wase walikuwa tear gas and those kind of shit. So for you, you're more interested about appearing to be the person hosting the president, what and those kind of shit. So and then after that, ndo nikakaa chini nikajiuliza. Now at first I was like, okay, the president wanted a platform, because we had said no. If the president is going to come to our platform, we are not going to his space. We are going to host him. So I'm like, I now Osama and host. But again, I came to realize Osama is in status. Osama, kwanza if you paid attention when the space was starting, he said niko kwa hawa yangu, I want to fix the internet and that kind of shit. And that's what pisses me the most, because for whatever reason, if the president has approached you, if the government has approached you, what is so hard in telling us that by the way say izeni mazee nimekuwa approach to host this space, I'll be hosting the president from State House. Number one, the first thing is just being honest. We never know what has happened in the background. We never know kama ulikuwa umetucheza, but at least what you owe us the most is that bit of honesty. Just be genuine and tell us this shit has happened. Kuna venye no, you might not even, we don't even care about the details. Again, that comes to the issue of those people that surround you. Sometimes I find my life to be very easy because penye niko peke yangu, nobody knows where I stay, naishi huko mashinani na vitu kama hizo. But I find it difficult. We might also blame Osama, but it's very important that we take also those people around them. Start tracking those people who are abducted, whether it's fake or true. You come to realize it's not normal that this thing was just, the state is very organized from the word go. So it means there are quite a number of people who were approached from the word go, even if the abductions were fake or not. Mi mwenyewe nilikuwa kipaumbele wa kusema fuck you na kutusi wasi wa gavana. I never got any serious threat that will say I'm under siege or I will be kidnapped kind of shit. So the most important thing and the most saddening thing is say kitu yenye nalaumu Osama number one, wase wamededi bana. Your closest friend has died, people have died, hadi wase wanazikwa left right and center. Jana nimetoka kwa attend postmortem ya msee alishutiwa huku Bungoma mazee, hawana shit. I even reach out to Anifa nisaidie 20k juu sasa tuko na maneno mingi. Unajua mazishi ya Western lazima watu wadishi na hizo msee postmortem imebidi nimefanya postmortem, tumewave, people are dying mazee kwa ground, and then wewe unatupeana kwa some small money. So that I think it's just inhumane. You're very well. As I wind up, the point that has been raised by some, I think we expect such a thing to happen when you're fighting for such cause. People will come back, they'll be backstabbers, people will drop, but hey, let's not focus. Nimeona Murkomen wameunda njia nyingine funny, sijui tunnel, wameshaanza kupata courage ya kuquote na kutweet upuzi. Umepata we are seeing healthcare, you'll see issues that are happening. This government, people will now get the audacity to take us to where we are. So the most important thing, we should not lose focus. I think I'm one of those people who said Nakuminja must go. Like Bella said, we have a doctor issue, which is a very big issue. And I always have issue with Kenyans when people are fighting for important things. Like, how are you guys okay with doctors being on strike for 2 months, clinicians 90 days na tumenyamaza? We might not be able to oust Ruto from status, but we can make it difficult such that akijua there's no way Nakumincha can stand up and tell us shit because everything is crumbling. Wamadhe sahi hawana care, watu wa shule hawana edu afya. NHF they are fucking up with this SHF. There's a lot of conflict of interest. There's a lot of quid pro quo in healthcare and many other sectors. So why don't we be people who speak? There are so many issues that we need to address, as it has been said before. And was wametuangusha, many people will fall back. Maybe people will turn around. Wageuke wakuwe chumvi, but let's not focus. As I wind up. So let's not lose focus. Easy story mmeanza kutusiana hapa sijui who are you. We might have divergent opinions. It's very disingenuous of us to expect that mse kama Ricky utagree na Kimuzi ama utagree na mimi. I don't mind differing on opinions. As we agree na Shanki. So that one is allowed. But what is the most important thing, we should focus on what is the main goal and what is our goal. Hizi stories zingine za mse sijui amefanyiwa nini hizo. And again, like I said, we don't have even to worry about who was paid and who was not paid. Mselewa ameniambia wasi walilipo, aliniambia wewe relax tu, give it time. Amenipatia so many details mpaka nikasema hey, because akaniambia you don't even have to worry, just give it time, people will start exposing each other and let's do that. Msikwe wasi wa kuanza kuingilia msee hivi na hivi. Even these politicians, if you come to realize one thing that I've had an issue, Nani has talked about Miguna, Kimuzi. We were very apolitical in the sense there are no politicians. We were just guided by issues. There are so many joyriders who hijacked the movement. They brought Kina Migunas. You realize there's a lot of opportunists, even the politicians themselves. Whatever hogwash was happening in Senate about their woken up, these are politicians. So let's not attack each other.
Miguna ride alianza kuride the wave last week if I think so, like alianza kuride after tumekuja so much, after ameona kuna something that is cooking and he's here accusing people.
Bro,
It's so
let
sad.
me tell you something. Your space, the first space in tulifika 100 and something K, I think it was a cost. I got so many calls. Even my uncle's politicians were saying, nini. There's a former governor I went to see. Oh, this is the guy who was so many politicians were saw an opportunity, especially those people who have been anti-government. Wanasema endeleeni kufinya nini. So unapata mseka Miguna anahostiwa. Even those people hosting those spaces, they are the same people who are fighting to host the president. There are so many people who are saying, oh, they were fighting. If you paid attention yesterday, they were fighting amongst themselves. Who is going to host the president? Please come, president. Please host us. This is a lot of bullshit, mazi. We started very well. Tulikuwa na space yetu. They did not believe that people could come and join, and that's what we need to focus on. Even people there are so many politicians who paid. People like in a Safaricom, they are involved. So there's a lot of people at play. The only way we remain focused, we become very organic, we become very genuine. Do not entertain any politician. Do not listen to any politician. Let people attend their spaces. Miguna, because you know how many million followers they'll get to. I don't know why people are fascinated by numbers. I said yesterday in the space we had with Wanyama, I'd rather have 10 people who are very genuine about it. We are speaking about issues. Hata tukikuwa say 10 na tunabonga the real shit, you realize this infiltration will not happen. That's why unapata politicians. Why are we complaining about Osama? Because politicians got to him. If you are very genuine, wengine wanaona atameado. If you are very genuine, by the way, mimi nimekuwa nikitweet everything consistently. Hakuna hata mse mmoja anaweza dare ni approach kufanya it, because you are very organic. Even people around you know you are organic. But the moment you are compromised by politician and money and those kind of shit, we lose. So as I wind up, let's remain focused. One of us has fallen, unfortunately, but let's continue. Not one, but I know there are many, because that shit I know there were quite a number of people. Let's remain focused. Tutaendelea as people, wale joyriders, they will fall. So on Monday, maze, let's continue with the same spirit. Let's fight for our interns, let's fight for our nurses, let's fight for our clinicians. Walimu hapo watashinda, let's invest Ministry of Education next, fight for these people. Wasi wa agriculture, sisi wakulima kama sisi wale tuko na issues. Let's just have a systematic approach. Of course we need a change of tact. They are here listening, but let's be focused. That is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, nice daktari. I'll have Nevs go next. Ngoja hii mic na anasema net yake iko na noma. Then we'll go to Pill of Hope.
Yeah,
Nevs.
Pill of Hope after huyo.
Okay.
Yeah, hey guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Ricky?
I can.
Nakusikia kaka.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I've been pressing Ricky because I needed to speak a bit. I've seen that we are spending a lot of time complaining about this guy Osama and all that. And I feel like if you're driving and one of your tire bursts, you don't stop the journey. You just change the tire and move ahead. So we are taking a lot of time and wasting a lot of energy on non-issues. If, let's assume, God forbid, I was the one who prayed the Osama thing today and I died, will the movement stop? No. So we are wasting time on nonsensical things. Be it he was paid, we shouldn't even be waiting for how much money he was paid, or how much, or whatever, or how many they were. That should not be our problem. We should be focusing on what is the next step. And the next step, which I think is somehow, I don't want to be, I don't want to get into people's heads or like judgment, but I think the best route that we should approach is on good governance and corruption. These things that bedevil our government all the time. I had looked at so much for this space, Kimuzi, that I try to put some message out there that, in my opinion, I would rather have these guys who host this space, Kimuzi, Porokimani, Hanifa, and one or two other people who does this. You hold a mega space whereby you will have a multitude of listeners. And from then on, you can decide who will be hosting. Why? Because if we keep on having divergent views, like now, you have this space from Kimuzi, another guy there, Afrocentric or whoever, is having a different space. So we keep on losing track. We don't know where we are going. We don't know where we are headed, and most of us are looking up to you guys to see, where this thing will take us. And I believe we can go far if only we are focused. We should, in my own opinion, I'm not for, like Ruto must go, because for me, it doesn't matter if Akau is sitting, as a president, and I'm getting better services. That's all that matters. So my point is, how can we get good governance? How can we get return for our money or whatever investment that we have done in the government or in this country against who is sitting there? It shouldn't be a big issue. I think I'll be very brief. That's all I have to say. Kindly, thanks.
Okay, nice. Hilo hope go next please. Alafu ukiongea please drop as a speaker.
Good,
Kuna wase wana request mic wengi sana.
good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Kimuzi, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. You are very audible.
Okay, perfect. Now, I wish to convey my deep condolences to the families and friends of the brave Kenyans that we lost in uh, in the Mandamano. May God rest their souls in eternal peace, and those families get closure. And as I start, I'll take some time, so I hope each and everyone would allow me to speak so that I can be able to demystify the man who is called William Ruto and the solutions that we have and where are we going. He hosted the space today, and it was a teacher who is, yani alikuwa ni mtu anasomea watu. He was not there to be able to talk and to be able to... Sorry, my background is quite noisy. So, William Ruto is a conman-in-chief and not commander-in-chief. And the government he's heading now is a crime scene. We are the ones who gave him power through the ballot, and we can still be able to get him out of office. I don't want to attack Osama. I don't want to attack anyone who has let us down. They did what they could do. All I can say is let us soldier on. Now, Mr. William Ruto is somebody, you guys are talking about this runaway corruption, but I need to bring to your attention, Kimuzi. Each and every morning, Central Bank of Kenya takes money, about 17 million shillings to State House, which has been the norm. And why do they take? It is always in denominations of Kenyan shillings, dollars, pounds, and euros and yen. It is always taken to State House just because of any emergency of the presidency. He can be able to survive within that day. But the question is, does that money go back to Central Bank of Kenya? No. Where does that money go? Every day, 17 million shillings leaves Central Bank of Kenya to State House, and it never comes back. William Ruto and the people who surround him are a group of conmen. There are a lot of people who have lost their money. There are a lot of people who have closed their businesses, and there are a lot of people who have been conned. I have the list of all the people who have been conned by the government, including the president himself and the people around him. William Ruto is in that office. You guys wonder where does Oscar Sudi get the money? When William Ruto was the deputy president, Oscar Sudi used to take people to the deputy president's residence each and every morning between 5:30 and 6. You are going to meet William Ruto, you have to give out 5 million shillings. And they used to divide. William Ruto appears somewhere, sits, talks to the people. If he sees you are credible, he will do business with you. And he will not do business with you, he's going to steal your money. So that is major corruption number 2. These people are in that office to sell their time. You can't be able to see them. And if you will be able to see them, you will have to fork out money. And this man, William Ruto, his litmus paper first to go for presidency was during the yes and no campaigns. He schemed. He was able to raise the votes for the no brigade, then came into power, schemed how he's going to take over from President Uhuru Kenyatta by dividing the Kikuyu community. Sorry, we are tribeless, but I have to say as it is, where did the rain start beating us? So William Ruto came into that office, schemed. They fell out with Uhuru in 2016, late 2015, early 2016. And he was to be jailed in ICC. Were it not for Ambassador Monica Juma, who at this end betrayed Uhuru Kenyatta. She used to give information to her husband, and her husband used to give to Dennis Itumbi. And that is where the narrative of HNIB, Hustler Nation Intelligence Bureau, something of that bullshit came from. And McHugh, she's the only one who was retained by William Ruto in his government. Kimuzi, you can hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you. Go on.
So I'm audible, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
you are.
audible.
Very, very.
Okay, perfect. Now, when you're running a government, you should be a businessman, not a politician. You should be able to come up with solutions. William Ruto today has no business and has never been a businessman in his entire life. There is no factory or company that he has brought it from scratch. This is somebody today who I think in his all wisdom sat down and said, I was never employed until I became an MP. You heard that? So why would he want our children to be able to go outside, to go and have jobs, some stupid jobs in countries abroad, while his children here in this country have businesses? They are conning people, including even Nick, who was conned, a South Sudanese person, and other people who have been conned and were deported. So what you guys are seeing you guys have not seen or heard of William Ruto. This guy, in terms of, he has zero respect even for a human being. That's all I can say. In the run-up to 2017 election, the guy schemed, sat down, divided the emerging leaders from the central region who could be a threat to his position, including the likes of William Kabogo, who they gave out a very, very, very bad narrative. And I can see he's here in the space. He can hear me. Actually, even you guys need to know that William Kabogo's son Alvin used to procure women for the PA of the president, and he used to be paid 400,000 shillings. And they used to take those girls to Riverside Drive in an apartment which was owned by Jomo Geshaga. All the money that was stolen from Eurobond was divided amongst these people, and some of that money is invested in Dubai through a real estate company owned by one man called Brian Etemad, who works for Uhuru Kenyatta. Not to say that this money was stolen. It is now our time to be able to pay it back. But how do we pay something we've not been able to see its fruits? SGR was another scandal which was negotiated. Those people were brought by Jimmy Wanjigi to Kenya, but they were unable to agree on the commissions. The amount, yani Jimmy Wanjigi alioshwa na William Ruto na Uhuru Kenyatta, ndio akaanza kupiga vita serikali, akalipa nani? Jamaa anaitwa Alfred Kiter. And to silence Alfred Kiter, because he doesn't love women, what does he love? He loved money. And he's a fraudster himself. So what did they do with Alfred Kiter? They set him up with treasury bills. And he fell for that. And William Ruto was the one who was behind it. So that they can do what? They can eat the SGR in silence. The money from SGR in silence. Jimmy Wanjigi akapigwa vita, huyu akapigwa vita. So hii watu yote ambao wako hapa ni watu wa sarakasi. We do not have any person there who takes care of our interests. All of them are a bunch of conmen and fools, people who cannot be able to sit down with you and reason. Another fool is Kalonzo. Raila Amolo Odinga is somebody who cannot be given the presidency because the US government does not have anything against him. They do not have leverage. For William Ruto, they gave him the seat. And who helped him? They interfered with the IEBC. Kimuzi, if you can remember, there was a time William Ruto alipiga kifua akasema, mimi siwezi kushindwa hii. You remember that, Kimuzi? Hello, Kimuzi?
Yeah, I remember. Hata umenikumbusha mali aliambia kijana fulani huko Kitale, wewe kijana unaniongelesha kama nani? Now so many things make sense.
Now let's move on. Alipokuwa anajipiga kifua, they had already infiltrated the IEBC system. I swear by the living God today, Kama yeye ni mwanaume alishinda hiyo kiti kihalali mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu, anasema alikuwa amependwa, afungue sava ya IEBC. Mzee Raila Amolo Odinga had won fair and square. They infiltrated the IEBC through Davis Churchill, who is his IT geek, who I don't know what he does, but it was infiltrated. And that is why William Ruto was boastful. Uhuru Kenyatta warned us, told us all sorts of things. We did not listen. We were being arrested. Myself, I worked with this guy since URP days. I was there when URP was formed. I was there when UDA was formed by this guy who's now a nominated member of parliament in Yala. Yule anatembea na crutches and Duale in Narok. That UDA was born in Narok. And these people have no absolute way to govern a country. You cannot govern a country through con men or con women. William Ruto is not somebody, against the amount of money he has and the time he has worked for in government. If you question him, how much worth are you? And how much have you worked? Or how many years have you worked? What was your salary? What was your per diem? How were you able to get these billions of money, these expensive watches, these ranches you've bought? And you have no, haina shida, wewe kama unaweza kuiba, iba, lakini you take the money out of Kenya, stash it somewhere, it never works, it does not do anything, then hata mchanga bro ukiokota, inaisha. Unaenda mali nyingine, unaokota tena mchanga, inaisha. Hii nchi, we will not have a country. Believe me, you will not have a country come 2027 if this guy is still on the seat. Saizi munaona hii in State House, whatever you guys don't see is way more than what is in public domain. I am here. I am part of those people who financed this guy's campaign. And when he came in, sisi ndio tuliaktiwa kwanza. Bad policies. You tell the guy, bwana, this is not how the government is run. Do this. No. Unawekewa tax ya 1 billion shillings. Unafungiwa. How many companies have closed in Kenya? How many people have run away from Kenya because of the bad policies the government has come up with? Afadhali kina Kabogo, these are people who are well known, alikuwa na clearing Mombasa. Uhuru ni mtu alianza na flower yake, akaanza hapa na pale. At least jamaa struggle. He knows how to earn a shilling, how to save, what to do. Lakini the man we have here in question is somebody who has been brought up in a poor environment, which it was not his liking to be born to poor parents, or their bringing was bad. But when he got there, he got excited from the word go. He's somebody who has not earned even 100 million of his ya jasho yake, yani amesema hii ni jasho yangu. Somebody who goes buy suits, watches, shoes, tells people how to use a fork. Na ni mtu alikuwa anakula pale Kamagut, sijui wapi Sugoi, alikuwa anakula na mikono. Unaanza kusomea watu ati kizungu hivi ndio watu wanakula. How did you suddenly have etiquettes of eating with forks when you were born eating with hands? So the man who we've put there, I'm really sorry. I voted for this guy. I campaigned for this guy. I broke my bone for this guy. I got people who financed him. but I am really sorry because I did not know. Was he going to change or was he going to turn? Was he going to change to be a better person or was he going to change against us? Now, clearly, this man has turned against the country. You guys, things are bad. Economically, things are bad. Do not be lied to. We have to put it black is black and white is white. A lot of factories have closed down. When an investor comes into Kenya, they take him to State House. They tell him, you want to see the president? Yes. Okay. Bring 20 million, bring 10 million, or bring. Now the stakes are high. Even regarding Gashagwa, who just came from the village, these days for you to see him, you have to have 5 million shillings. So the question begs here: are we going to be able to keep up with these people who are going to fleece and make investors run away? Brother, Kenya is Kenya is a very strong country with beautiful souls like you guys. People who are strong enough, people who can think for themselves. I would like you guys to sit down and reclaim this country. It is going to the dogs. The person in question cannot manage even a petrol station, cannot be able to manage a factory, does not have anything at all. And the likes of people who advise him are people like David Langat, people who he does not listen to. Ubaya ya William Ruto ni moja. Ameongeza kiburi, ujuaji, ujinga, ulafi, yote kwa pamoja. So how do you deal with a fool who's heading a group of fools who are clapping for him, and this country is ours? It's going to hit us hard if this guy will still be there in the next coming years. By any means possible, the only way we can get this guy out is who gave us this guy? The Supreme Court. We need to move to the Supreme Court. After moving to Supreme Court, we need to have a digitalized system whereby we can use our ID to be able to vote, even if the IBC is not constituted as at now. We are able to have this guy. We can be able to have this guy out because the same constitution that guaranteed him is the same constitution that can still protect us and protect also his rights, but also protect the rights of each and every Kenyan who is here in Kenya. We do not want to see our children go out, our girls go out. Do you know what members of parliament do when they go outside to Dubai or Qatar or wherever they go? They go there for fornication. They go there to have to spend time with our girls. So does William Ruto want to send our girls to Dubai or any other place so that when he travels there, he's able to go and misuse them? Or these members of parliament, kina Didmas Baraza, kina nani? Kwanza huyo Didmas Baraza akijaribu kuongea, tuko na news yake akikulana na mwanamke Morocco, a Moroccan lady. We are going to bring this whole thing down like a house of cards. William Ruto kazi yake akiona mwanamke kwa room. William Ruto is so bad in such a way that if a woman goes and visits him, the first thing he touches is her boobs. I have a list of them. Alikuwa anakula dem MCA kutoka this northern thing Marsabit or Isiolo County pale Hemingways.
Hey,
No,
moderators, kindly help us wrap it up. We
no,
have so
please,
many people who want to.
please let me rant as much as I can. At least because
Wacha amalize
I'm
kuongea.
coming to something, please.
Yeah, continue.
Now, why would a whole president want to go outside and take people? He promised to create jobs, yet he did not have any plan whatsoever to create any job. You cannot just create jobs for the sake of like unafanya hivi na hivi kuongea mdomo yako. Hapana bwana, what is so hard for William Ruto, ndio anakopa. Unakopa unaweka kwa barabara. Unakopa hata hiyo barabara hatuoni. There is no development the government has done. Recarpeting nani. There is no major thing these people have done. The only way we can be able to tell him is, listen man, you said you can create jobs, but we don't see you creating any jobs. You do not have a plan. We have to have a light industries. We are an importing country. We are not an exporting country. And when you consume more than you produce, my friend, you are doomed to fail. When you hike expenses to run those companies, you're going to close them down and jobs are going to be lost. Brother, when I sit with my Chinese friends, I do not have the audacity to talk because we are told, we mpaka muna import nail kata, unatuambia nini?
Son of a Taylor,
This is somebody,
unaweza pause
this is,
kiasi. Kuna watu wanataka kuongea, then we'll continue. Give us like 10 minutes, then we'll continue. Is that okay with you?
We Ricky, wacha amalize his line of thought tafadhali.
Sawa, haina shida.
Wacha amalize his line of thought. Yes.
Sawa. Okay, is everyone as a speaker okay with that before we continue?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can give him 10 minutes to wrap up.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
but that was not a unanimous decision, man. You cannot just have one person talking throughout the whole. We have 12,000 people, man.
Okay.
Wacha
Yeah.
mpatie
2
we
minutes.
can,
2
I
minutes
think
to wrap it
I'm
up.
going to shorten this and then maybe we can have another conversation with Kimuzi with the solutions. So let me just wrap it here. The moment your country, you guys, I need you to look at this perspective. This country is importing more than it is exporting. We only export small foodstuffs, which do not bring us any income. We need to sit down as Gen Z. I'm actually a millennial. We can sit down, come up with our own strategies, come up with how are we going to be able to produce, how are we going to cut down these electricity costs, because he has put so many levies that we don't see. This is a country which produces oil. We do not see that oil. We rather import oil. We do not have a lab whereby this hii mafuta ikiletwa inakaguliwa. We actually import the worst oil. Africa imports the worst oil. I'll have to be honest with you guys. So our line of discussion should be, now the government has failed to create jobs. How are we going to sit down to create jobs for ourselves? In terms of tourism, huyu ni mtu, he said all things go through e-citizen. E-citizen, when you access or do anything, William Ruto anakula share na huyo jamaa rafiki yake. And that is something I can be able to to confirm to you day and night. Anapata commission pale. He gets his commissions through government procurement services.
Eh,
For every thing that you go in.
Pillar of hope. Unajua, I want to believe you because let me just start something. Utaendelea, don't worry. There is a deal in Ruto alienda juzi South Korea. It's just in the latest before sasa aache kutravel like a month ago. And you talk about David Lagat, dear Lagat. I personally know them. I know dear Lagat. And hiyo deal, there was a lady. If you look for a picture yenye walikuwa wameenda wote, there is a picture yenye unaona Ruto ako nao watu. Actually, that deal ilikuwa ya David Lagat, and it's actually the truth that you're saying. That's why I am quite appalled. Yes,
Let me tell you, brother. I can hereby confess there is no trip William Ruto has gone outside of Kenya for the benefit of the people of Kenya. Ilikuwa biashara zake, personal and nothing but personal. And this guy lacked international connection. Uhuru Kenyatta was afadhali huyo jamaa mlevi. Alitufinya ndio, lakini he was telling us. Now he's part of the people who are laughing at us. Niliwaambia muendelee. This man lacked international connection. His assets were frozen in the UK under the name of this guy called David Muge, one batch of a silly, stupid man, who today, even if you sit down with him, they will tell you, give me money. The first thing you want to talk to him, he tell you, give me money. So you guys need to understand that William Ruto did not have the international backings. Alipochukua usukani, alianza kutukana hawa jama so that he can be able to get their attention and then bring them close. When he went for the coronation of the king, akilima hao wazungu, alikutana na Matiangi pale na aliachiwa pesa yake kumamake huyu Ruto na huyo Matiangi. That is, Matiangi was told, sitaki kukuona kwa siasa, unyamaze na unipatie pesa yangu. So all these people, no one is clean, no one is good, all of them need to go. We get new people whatsoever. So you guys, I have a lot to say. Kimuzi, as I wind up, please, we have the youth here. Some are architects, some are engineers, some are what. We can be able to sustain ourselves. Ndio serikali imetuweka kando, lakini mbona sisi wenyewe ndugu zetu hatuwezi saidiana? Issue sio kwenda nje ya nchi. You can build Kenya. You do not have to import capacity. You do not have to export your generation. Wale ambao wako na nguvu na akili unawaambia waende pale ndio wakuwe nani? Waoshe choo, wafanye nini? A lot of people are running mad in Dubai, are running mad in Saudi. Watu wanaenda wakiwa hai, wanarudi kama mzigo. So I could talk as much as I can about William Ruto, but you guys just know that he's a foolish, fool, arrogant, ignorant man, full of himself. He thinks, and he's bipolar, by the way. He thinks he knows it all. He thinks he can give you, like, you see, when you're with the guy, he's talking too much and a lot of ideas are running. That guy is bipolar. That is somebody who beats even Rachel. And Rachel is even a thief who stole 60 million from people in pretext of giving them CAS and PS jobs. So this government, all of it is a crime scene. Shut down this fucking government. Huyu jamaa sio P.O. Box Sugoi kumamake. And I have zero apologies to make. And the website will come up stating all the dirty deals this motherfucker has done, the people he has stolen from, the amount of money the government he stole from the government, And let me tell you guys, this guy, do not expect anything good from this guy. He's somebody who will cool down to see your temperatures and then come up again. But let me tell you one thing. Whatever bad thing he did to Uhuru Kenyatta, is biting him now, is coming back to him now, and this is karma, and this is the time to pay back. Watu walishindwa, I was not around during the Occupy State House. Brother, Monday, I'm a Tuesday. 20 hiyo State House, I will be on the forefront. Tuone kama yeye ni mwanaume ataitisha watu watupige
Pillar of
risasi.
Hope.
Bloody
Pillar of Hope.
fucking.
Thank you,
Na,
thank you,
na
thank you, thank
US,
you so much. Ah,
IMF, we should burn down the
Pillar,
offices of IMF and
Pillar of
World Bank.
Hope.
Kimuzi,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
go next.
Before, yeah, I'm really glad. Pillar of Hope, I know you are among the people. Na ni fiti sana. I know you are among the people mwenye labda ulitupwa nje, and hii ni mzuri sana for the intel.
No, sikutupwa, sikutupwa nje. Mimi biashara yangu, my business was hurt. We paid the taxes of up to 1 billion shillings and we closed down shop. Saizi sio, I do not, because I am 31 years old. Nilianza kazi nikiwa miaka 16 when I finished school with no father and nothing. People have been my
No,
fathers
no, no,
and
no.
mothers, and I
What I'm
reached where
trying
I
to
reached
say,
because of them. But we will come up
what I'm trying
again.
to say,
Yes.
if business ingeenda vizuri, atungepata intel. I'm so happy tumepata intel. You get what I'm saying?
Pillar of Hope pia
No,
mi niko na swali. I have a
nimesha
question to you.
kupata, lakini
Let
William
me
Ruto sio
let
huyo
me let me,
jamaa.
let me ask a question, Pillar of Hope. What business are you
Ask
doing
please.
with the government?
No. One thing, I've never worked for the government. I have never been employed by the government. I've never gotten any tender from the government. I've never done any tender. I am in the cargo clearing company sector. We do import goods on behalf of people. Our businesses were affected. That's all.
So
I've never worked for the government.
how did you
So we
know
used to give
who?
even money to these politicians. So we've never worked for government. I've never been able to get any
You
contract
know what you
whatsoever.
have
So
mentioned,
how did you know the
what you
president's
mentioned, Pillar,
sidekicks?
You
Guys,
mentioned,
come on, man.
You mentioned something very,
Come
very
on, people.
critical near David Lagat, and I know
This guy
about
is
that
not
deal.
William Ruto.
No. I'm very happy that he has given us intel, and we'll be hosting him on the space. But what we are saying,
Yeah, but listen, dude, we have like 10,000 people who have ideas, man. Give them a chance.
Okay,
No,
okay,
okay.
mnaweza pea mtu mwingine
Kimuzi,
mic.
Kimuzi.
Kimuzi,
Kimuzi, let me
Let
go
the next
next.
we'll
person
I've been
talk
speak,
more
waiting
in
Kimuzi.
for
private.
this.
We'll talk
Let,
more
let,
in
Yeah.
private. For now, I leave you with God's blessings, and let me just be honest with you guys. Pangeni
Thank,
nyumba, wacha
Thank you,
tujipange.
thank you,
Do
thank
not,
you.
thank you, thank you,
Thank
Pillar
you.
of Hope.
wait for good
please,
thing from
please,
William
can the
Ruto.
next person speak, please, please.
Okay,
Thank you,
mwenye
Pillar of Hope.
amesema kuna 12,000 people wakaongea, kindly take over.
Yeah, please, kindly.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
hey.
not me, but I'd like to go next, Kimuzi, with your blessings. If you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up.
We can.
We can hear you loud and clear. Go on,
All right,
please.
thank you. Lovely. Pillar of Hope, we hear you. We know we are all mad about this government. We are all angry about the happenings in all the sectors, in fact. But just to begin, allow me to commiserate with the victims and the families of the people who've been affected by this revolution. This evening, I'd like to salute you all in the name of this revolution. It is very painful that we are here and breaking apart because one of the people who we thought was very critical about this movement either has been compromised or has been bought. I don't know which one it is. I don't think for me that matters. I think the reason why this revolution was born in the first place is because out of a need. The people of this country felt the system and the government was not working for them. And that's why we all went to the streets. Now, my biggest worry is the fact that we are spending so much time fighting the man and fighting the people who have been compromised. We spent an entire last week trying to discredit, and there's a gentleman who spoke here and told us all the tactics that are used by counterintelligence. We spent the better part of last week trying to fight the likes of Hanifa, who've done amazing jobs. An amazing job trying to help comrades who are injured, during the struggle. I think it is critical for us to take stock of what we have achieved, regroup and figure out what's next, and so that it's not important. And so that it is important, and history does not misquote us. It is important to be not to be. It is important for us to remember that we marshaled the biggest revolution after Egypt and Tunisia to bring down a government to its knees to listen to us. For the first time in this country, you felt that feeling. You know that feeling you can't explain in your heart. The patriotism of having people discuss and share one vision for this country without having to think about class, without having to think about religion, without having to think about tribal backgrounds. For the first time, we spoke about issues that affect us as young people. Now, this movement has been marshaled, of course, by millennials and Gen Z. There are other groups, classes of groups in this. But however, I keep on saying this. If you are past a millennial, there's nothing this government can do for you unless they are working for a social welfare to make sure your retirement benefits are paid in good time. Anybody else who's not in that class needs to fight tooth and nail to make sure that this government works for them. Now, the other thing that we all need to realize is that freedom is not free. It comes at a price. We've already paid that price dearly. We've lost 40 young people. And this is the part where I want everyone in this movement to be very responsible. These Twitter spaces that we are holding are the tone for this revolution. They are the communication centerpiece that dictates what's happening from the top all the way down. The people on other platforms rely on your conversations. The people on TikTok rely on your conversation. The people in the village rely on your conversation. We cannot afford to be reckless. We have a responsibility that when we speak from one vision. We speak from one script. Otherwise, you are misleading people who believe in this vision, and when they go to the ground, they end up being casualties. So we have a responsibility to our younger sisters and brothers. And Beverly was here and spoke very, very passionately about soon some of you are going to be parents. I'm a parent already. I have one child. Soon some of you are going to be parents. What kind of country do you want them to come to? Do you want them to be to inherit a country that will never do anything for them? Today we castigate our parents because we keep on telling them, in the last 3 weeks, we have done way more than the first and second and third generation revolutionaries ever did for this country. And I don't want to downplay their efforts in the struggle because they didn't have the same tools we are having today. They didn't have the same knowledge that we are privileged to have today. They didn't have the same understanding of the global context, of the global policies, as well as foreign policies. They did not have that wealth. They didn't have the tools we have to mobilize. So we can't judge them. But most importantly, it is important for us to take stock of what we have achieved. We have managed to force this government to drop a bill that was going to put money in their pockets. When Uhuru Kenyatta spoke and said people are stealing 2 billion, he was not stupid. He knew exactly what he was saying. And for you to think that we are going to bring a government that steals 2 billion shillings every day with nothing but a tweet is very delusional. It's very, very delusional. More people will be bought. More people will be harmed before we realize that light at the tunnel. So the earlier you understand this, the better. If you're not in this for the long run, then you might as well quit while you're ahead. Because just making the government drop this bill has them very, very jittery. The other thing that I need you guys to understand is when we started organizing, and I've been attending all of them from the first one, I have participated in this revolution with my resources and my skill set. When we started supporting this movement, we were ahead. The government ignored us. You know why did they ignore us? Because they were used to the usual protesters who are always considered pro the opposition. And they knew after some time someone is going to show up to claim to be their leader. And then they realized the numbers were rising. And they realized, oh, wait a minute, there's communication structure. Wait, these people are speaking in the same language. And each and every event got bigger and better. And all of a sudden, they couldn't ignore us. So what did they try to do after that? They tried to shut us down. But we still achieved our goal. We managed to march to to parliament. And that's when all of a sudden their eyes opened up. They realized we cannot ignore this movement. Young people in this country, I organize and do a lot of mobilization around public participation and civic education because I believe that's the area where we can change this country. And for the first time, they realized we cannot organize this demographic because they are 70% of the population of the country. So what did they do? They started their antics as usual to break down the movement, discredit, neutralize, pay people. And for the first 4 events, we had beaten the government 4-0. The second time, they managed to make sure they did a press conference to make sure, they quell our anger, and they've been gaining ground. Today, they made another chess move. They hosted a space. They managed to have one of us to be part of that space. That is
Can I interject a little bit, just 5 seconds?
Sure,
Yeah,
please.
naona Utero ameanzisha space anaita sijui Anxiety. I don't know what's going on. I've just seen it.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Nothing, it's just that.
Okay, fair enough. So today, as we stand, we are 4-2. We've beaten them 4 times. They've beaten us twice. This game is a war. It's about how you play a move. When we were ahead with 4 goals, the president was looking very legitimate. They can no longer afford to do this. Today was a major move for them. It was a do or die. You can tell that the tone of government has changed. We used to have people who would talk down to us, the likes of Achungwa, the likes of KJ, the likes of Sudi. They used to treat us like they would vomit in front of our faces because they had been put on a pedestal. But now the tone of government has changed. They're speaking to us like we matter. And that's where we wanted them in the first place. And we've managed to do that. So when you forget what you have achieved for this revolution, always remind yourself that you have done so. Also remind yourself that you have forced the president to come out and make some few pronouncements like reconstituting IBC in 10 days, calling the conduct on some of his state officials who are very inept and incompetent. How do you claim that you're fighting corruption in this country while the people who are around you, not only are they incompetent, but they are walking around with monies that can't be explained? A few years ago, I used to work for a media house. I won't mention the name. Murkomen used to drink tea in my office every single day. I used to see the guy come every morning having breakfast in our office. We used to pay him 20,000 to be a political commentator. Today, the man speaks, and we used to look up to him. He was a bright young man who had a future ahead of him. And today, the man can speak from both ends of his mouth because, the amounts of monies that is hitting their pockets and their bank accounts and their families and the opportunities they have amassed and the wealth, they have gained enough to disrespect you as a people of this country. Now, what am I trying to say? The other biggest win that we have secured is making sure that for the first time we have unshackled the church from these chains they have with the state. The church is one of the instruments that this government has been using to govern the people and influence the communities. And you have a duty that to move this conversation from these spaces where we are a little bit more learned, more elite, to down to the villages, to your parents, to your grandparents, and tell them, listen, the reason why you took us to school is so that we can be able to design and make decisions that are better, either for the family or for this country. And it's our time. You had your time. Whatever advancements you made to make sure there's good governance, you already did. It's our turn. When the likes of Tom Mboya were making amazing moves for this country and making changes, they were at the same age you guys are. So do not think that you are younger. No. This is your time. We have made the president made pronouncement about auditing our debt, which is another useless pronouncement, but he has made it publicly. Of course, I don't think that document will ever be made public. Because number one, what are you telling us? You're asking, you're forming a task force to audit the debt right now, while we've been paying it. You're paying it from which books of accounts? What sort of nonsense is this? So we have a government that cannot be trusted. Let's not be fooled that because the man is reaching out with an olive branch, that because the tone of the government is right, and because Senate are writing very, very moving speeches that we have people on our side. No. They are always police from their side. The 1% have enough money to make sure they crush every little young person before they relinquish that power. So we have to stay strong. We have to stay focused. We have to remain driven. And this movement can't be for you if you're driven with money. It has to be more than money. It has to be about values. You must want to see this country better for the next generation. It can't just be about you. You must love this country so much to believe in resetting it so that education is an equalizer. You must love this country so much that you share and shudder at the fact that a government official can stand in front of a podium, appoint people in their family for opportunities, and create a shitty website to make sure that you who has a degree, you who has a master's, go to countries abroad to work as a slave, to work as a house help. No disrespect to people who do that job. You must be angry enough to convert this movement to the fiercest, the most feared human rights movement, the most efficient economic freedom fighters this world will ever see. And how do we do that? We have to devolve this movement. It can't just be about us on Twitter. Sometimes we are very selfish because we have the monopoly of information sometimes, and because we also are very experienced in using some of the best tools. We have to start devolving this movement. Start mobilizing in your own professional networks. Let's create a Gen Z, or whatever you want to call it, a council of fighters that can be able to.
Mr. Tash,
Yes,
you were
sir.
complaining
Yes.
people are taking too much time and you're the one now taking the time.
No, I'm actually finalizing.
Okay.
This is my last
Okay,
book.
no
That's why I
problem.
say this is my last. Yeah, sorry. This, like I said, it's bigger than money, and it's our job. We have a responsibility, guys. We have a responsibility to make sure we hand over this country to the next generation with an opportunity for them to thrive. So, what are we going to do? Turn this movement to the most important thing that you can have in your life. Mobilize, build networks around professional areas. Let those professional areas, whether they are medics, whether they are IT guys, whether they are teachers, let them start keeping government in check in all the areas that they're trying to swindle us of our inheritance, swindle us of our taxes, swindle us of our respect of good governance. And we are not asking for much. We are only asking for our birthright, which is our taxes need to be accounted for, and the constitution needs to be respected. And most importantly, they need to have a vision that is about building this country and not brokering deals. Thank you so much, Kimuzi. I yield.
Thank you. The next speaker, a lady most probably. Chips, you can go on.
I was next, but
Okay,
yeah, the
thank
lady
you.
can go.
Hello. Who was next?
Yeah, I
Me.
was next. No, I was next.
Let Chicks speak, then
Yeah,
you,
let her
because
speak, then I'll
yeah.
give. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you for giving me the space to speak, and I hope I'm being heard clearly. Am I being heard?
Yeah, we can
Loud
hear
and
you
clear.
loud and.
Okay, that's fine. So first of all, let me say condolences to the fallen soldiers, but also condolences to all us Kenyans, because we lost people who we shouldn't be actually burying this week. Let me start by saying that. Now, I've, I've seen this. I'm not on the ground, but I've been watching. I've taken my time out of work to go through this in support of everything that all us Kenyans, whether we're in the country, diaspora, what we're all going through. And the one thing that I can say is that, one, what happened today, there was me and my mom watched it, and the first question we asked ourselves was, why did the president take one of us to host the page? He's surrounded by so many people, so many advisors, so many young people. There's Hussein, there's Itumbi. They could have done that. The question we need to ask ourselves was why. So you always have, for me personally, I don't know what other people may think, you will always have double agents in a revolution. And unfortunately, Osama is one, and probably many more are still within the space. You will never know who's who. So, but also look at it from this point of perspective. Ruto isn't stupid. By doing that, what we spend most of the time doing this whole space was discuss Osama, not evaluating his speech, not looking at what he did. I don't know if you people caught, because I did, when he spoke about the 12-year-old. He said the 12-year-old got shot so many years ago in Buruburu, and then after that, oh no, it's the 12-year-old in in Rongai, yeah, and then after that, it was a criminal. So, what we should have been doing is analyze his speech. He said he's signing the IBC on Tuesday. We should be asking ourselves, if he doesn't sign the IBC on Tuesday, what then? So what he's actually done is actually he's dropped a bomb inside our conversation, and we took our time and started discussing that person. Osama did what Osama was gonna do, whether he was there or not there. Osama did him. So we've lost focus on the price, and the price is, we all agree Ruto isn't the right person for the job. We made a mistake and we're paying for it. But we also need to also agree Ruto has planned his political life from the day he was elected an MP. This is 30 years. Is it 30 years in the making? So removing him from the seat will be one of the most difficult things we will have to do and face if we remove him on 2027. That is something we need to do. But we need to take steps to be able to get him out. Um, Also, let's stop fighting amongst ourselves, because it's not good. Okay, it does an injustice to the people who we are burying, our fallen soldiers. When we do that, it's really not good. We're laying people down to rest who actually came out to fight for a reason. So let's not have this silly, I'm not going to call them silly, because I understand we're all angry, but let's take that anger and direct it towards Ruto and his government, to be able to ask for a service. Me going to a hospital I should not be going to the streets to ask for medication in hospital. It's my right. I'm paying taxes to get that. We shouldn't be doing such. So in 2024, we shouldn't be doing that, but we are forced to. So that anger, let's channel it to the right direction, so that when we do that, we are able to at least get a few steps ahead. So that's something else. The other thing is, I'm gonna say, like, where I am at the moment. We've just elected a new prime minister, and he'll be doing his. He'll be, I think, in a couple of days, he'll elect the people who will be heading certain ministries. But what you will notice is that it's just a change of management. So you go one manager to another manager. That means if I go to a hospital, the hospital still stands because it's those services are still there. It doesn't mean that because you got someone a new leader, that means that those services cease to exist because the other ones have left. So that's what we should be asking for. That it doesn't matter. Like, I think there is what guy who said there. It doesn't matter what leader you have. Certain services have to run, regardless of whether it's you, me, or someone else who's on that seat. So those are the things that we need to be fighting for. That policies are in place. That you don't have to. I'll give you an example. Getting my ID, it took me. I think I had to do things I never thought I would do. Especially when you've been exposed to systems where they work. You apply. I'll give you an example. Applying for a passport where I am, it's you apply online, everything is done online, and within probably less than a week, you have your passport. It shouldn't take that long. Those are the things that we need to be advocating, fighting for. And we need to shout as much as we can. The anger we have inside, that is what we should be shouting for. I
Can
heard
we
on.
wrap it up?
I am going to. I'm
Can
just three more things.
okay.
This jobs abroad. Well and good. He's going looking around for jobs. I've got no problem in that. That's fine. But I'm going to give you an example. For instance, a maid in Germany has to speak the language. Question is, you have to ask yourself: is how many Kenyans speak the language? Finally, working outside the country it can be a very lonely, stressful, and depressing affair. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then finally, Kimuzi, you said about civic education, and I agree with you. There has to be civic education, and there has to be awareness. I think we are speaking because we know, but there's a generation, and there are people even within our generation who need that civic education. And that's my input. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Hiyo part ya civic education is the most important part that I'm going to take over now because Ruto said he will sign the IBC document on Tuesday, right? If we had him correct and we believe him. So if he sign it on Tuesday and it starts going on, we can now start mass voter registration by giving out civic education to all the youths. The youths are more than 20 million, that I know. So if and only if we teach these people that it's important to register the vote and not say I am not going to vote, or people are ignorant about the bad side of not voting. So we should every person. Personally I want to do 100,000 people. If every person that do like 1,000 or 2,000 people, 2027 we can do the right thing. Thank you for that input. Wambo.
Yeah, hi guys. Thank you guys for hosting this. So yeah, I got out of that the president's space very angry, and I've been space hopping since then. The only consolation was the Coyotes Sonko, who atoned for Bungoma for giving us Didmas and Weta. Yeah. During that time, I've stumbled upon a very profound thing that I would quickly, just two things that I would quickly want to share with you guys. The first one, yeah, is it doesn't weaken us to listen to a dissenting opinion, right? Some of us need to read 48 Laws of Power. Yeah, this betrayal thing shouldn't have even been a surprise to any one of us. Yeah, there are other perspectives I would like you to consider on this betrayal issue. Yeah, who is the biggest winner here? Who benefits from our ignorance of how Ruto operates? How do you think they know what we plan and discuss? They listen in, but we don't do the same. What are you angry about on this whole betrayal thing? The fact that you created the betrayal, or the fact that you no longer have a cause to pursue? Yeah, this is too important to waste like 2 hours on betrayal. Our conviction should be greater than any betrayal, right? How much reverence do we put on people who have huge followers? Followers are not a measure of intelligence or leadership. Yeah. If we make this movement about ourselves, there can be no other results than feeling of betrayal. We need to be disciplined in our spaces. We move the queue, have decorum, hosts be impartial and fair. You don't have monologues. Let at least 2,000 people share their ideas. Otherwise, we are no different from Ruto. And people must realize before we crucify all the so-called betrayers, most of us sang Hustler at Awale for ages. So let's not make this about personalities. Number two, in my space hopping escapades, I've seen a very prominent trend. The first one is fear mongering and a lot of apathy. I almost saw the sad mood here. Guys, don't stress out. Okay? Let me tell you why you should be very confident about the whole movement. One, nothing has changed, at least in terms of the caliber of people surrounding Ruto, meaning there are no new ideas being fronted. Okay? Let me paint a picture for you. This whole thing has not informed Ruto, has not informed any decision this government is going to make. And Ruto is the one running this whole government alone. He is a micromanager. I'll give you an example. This lady called Koome, she hasn't said a thing. LSK stood with us. IG of police, he can't speak. Interior and defense CSs went on air after the whole thing had died down. Intelligence is chasing Ruto's idea that, yeah, somebody is funding this whole thing. All the spokespeople, even Hussein, I used to rank him, even Hussein, they haven't spoken anything. Only Rigiji came out to speak, but it was to steer suspicion away from himself. Yeah, even during the floods, when the floods were raging, this guy was out of the country, but the CS had to wait for him to give the okay for schools to close. So, guys, he is running this country alone. Okay, so nothing has changed. So here's the catch, right? You can treat ignorance with knowledge, right? But foolishness is an inborn talent, and this guy is talented proper. If all these events have not educated him, okay, I listened to him in the space. He's listening to answer, not listening to actually listen. The rhetorics are the same, the rebuttals are the same. If all these have not educated him on whether to change his direction, he has an inborn talent of foolishness, which is a good thing for us. This means that the core reasons why this whole movement started are still existing, and they will continue to exist. And this being an organic revolution, it won't just die out because somebody is lying or a few Oteros have been compromised. No. The people in this government have the ability and the talent to sabotage itself before the next election. So I'm not worried. There's going to be a bigger revolution. Sadly, it won't be bloodless, but this time the Gen Z will bring everyone else. So if they didn't see that coming, they're not going to see whatever is going to come, and it's bound to happen. So be confident. Don't worry about the sideshows. You know your conviction. Let it be bigger than some betrayal or so whatever. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Can I go now?
No. Kimuzi.
Hello, you can hear me?
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Amemaliza?
Amemaliza, yes.
Okay.
What I was saying, hii kitu ni how the state operates right now, you can clearly see. Kama saa hii jamaa ameingia kwa space, amecreate space yake, wanafanya ile kitu divide and rule. That's the card they are trying to play, sababu wameshindwa how to control us.
Unajua,
So
just let me put a little bit. The worst thing is Ruto hako amepenetrate hapa, but amempea platform ya kupenetrate huku sasa. Sasa ako na that hapa. Unaona kasa hizi Miguna anasema mimi ni NIS agent. Kesho atarana the story, the government bloggers. So they have gotten the platform now.
We need to look for a way forward and a new strategy, because hatuwezi fuata the same strategy that we've been following, because ukiangalia sasa washa infiltrate kila kitu. So we have to plan again, come up with a new strategy na tuache ku concentrate na about sijui amebetray whatever. It was bound to happen to some people, ilikuwa tu happen, and now that's how the state operates. Na hata ukifuata atakuja ku apologize, ajaribu kurudi na sympathy and everything. Amekochiwa, ashaambiwa what to say and what not to say. So you gotta be very cautious tukienda mbele na how hiyo, kama hiyo venye ashalipo tuseme hiyo ni bygones. Sasa we look for a way forward to vile ni tunataka, what do we want to achieve, our goal ni gani, to maintain na hiyo goal. I know there are many people watakuwa wanafuata hii kitu, watakuwa naangalia, people will weigh, people are wise right now. Uwezi hata ukikauta, you cannot fool people all the time. Na hata ukaa ulisia kwa hiyo space yenye ilikuwa earlier, there were no answers, just promises. Na ukiangalia hata hiyo IBC alisema Tuesday atasign, they will still drag it. Hata hiyo amepeana sijui debt wamepeana hiyo committee kufuata 3 months. They will just drag it out. Kenyans wakuwa cool down. Sahii ni pressure imezidi, na hiyo pressure tunafaa tuendelee kusukuma hiyo pressure kabisa till the systems work. Na as of now, let's say we cannot get to the number 1, but sasa hawa foot soldiers wake hawa wafai kukanyagishwa chini, wasipewe amani. Ukianza ni CS, these corrupt ministers, wao wange kama wao incompetent, hawa mwenye ako health, mwenye aliuzia watu fertilizer mbaya, those people wafai kukanyagishwa chini. We must call for them kwanza watoke, tumnyang'anye foot soldiers kwanza, ndo tukimfikia yeye, tukianza kuweka mambo ya voter registration, ndo youth wachukue votes, tuko tumemnyima foot soldiers. From there now tunaweza panga. I think that's the way to go.
Can I go now?
Yeah, no problem, sure.
Thank you. I hope everyone is doing fine. It's been a tough time, and I've been listening, and I've also heard people almost sounding discouraged, but not really discouraged, because at the end, we're still saying that we have to keep fighting and keep pushing on. So I won't talk for so long. I just have 3 points. And the reason why I also won't talk so long is because some previous speakers have actually mentioned the things that I wanted to mention. The first point that I'll start with is we've been saying that we are leaderless, which would mean that we are all leaders, you know. And if we're all leaders, we have to act like it. Especially someone mentioned about Twitter, these spaces, and the power that they have, that these spaces are the voice, you know. People are looking, and this is where they get the message. But sometimes, you know, you go into Twitter and then you see
people tweeting some things, you know, mpaka unashindwa what is happening. You know, we have to be responsible. We have to post responsibly, because people look at what we are saying and they take it and run with it. All of this division, hata hiyo sahi, Miguna saying that Kimuzi is NIS, or someone saying, you know, all types of things. All of those things are besides the point. And we've been saying, we know very well that the government is using divide and rule. We know it. But why are we falling for it? Because that has been the tactic that has been most effective for them. And that is why we've sat here for all this time, 2-3 hours, talking about Osama on the other side, he's a betrayer and all that. Yes, he's betrayed us, but that was bound to happen, and more such things will happen. But if we have a main focus, because we know the goal, we know what we want to achieve, and we have to be able to define it. So what is the way forward? And the way forward for me, as I know, I think we all know the way forward. What we want is good governance. That's it. It's not about Ruto. It's not about the corrupt politicians. I mean, yes, it's about them. We want to see people tried. If found guilty, we want to see people in jail. We want to see resources returned back to the country. We want accountability and transparency, and we want a country that is just. That is what we want. So good governance is our goal. And now coming to my last point, you know, intelligent people and time are the enemies of a liar. And Ruto is a liar. And he will come out, he will make these promises to us, and he knows very well, he knows that we as Kenyans have been indoctrinated over a long period of time into a culture of hope. Tunaambiwaga tu that itakuwa sawa huko mbele, nimepanga, mtaona vijana, ndatengeneza makazi. You know, we hear these things, and usually they come and promise these things, and then we forget everything. We don't fact check. We just hear the message, we get the hope, we believe, and then tunanyamaza. And then after time imeenda, ndo tunaanza tena tunashtuka. So this time round, we as Kenyans are awake. We are conscious. We are watching. We are listening very keenly. And this is the weapon that we have right now against the government. We have to call them out. The promises that they make, if Ruto wants to change, absolutely, ni sawa sawa. If he's going to transform the country, sawa sawa, because that is what we want. So akisema that he's going to reconstitute IBC in 10 days, sawa. When the 10th day comes, he has to show us that he has done it. Si amesema ati anaenda kufanya a debt audit. Sawa. Do it. When the time comes, because you want the specifics, when the time comes, we have to get the answers. And that is how we are going to get this government. All the information that we have. I saw the appeal of hope. He seemed to have a long list of things. Tunataka all of those things, all the information that we have, let us put them out there. Let the public see everything. Let us expose, let us make the government transparent, that we can see through everything and no one will be able to hide. So we just need to do two things, in my opinion. We need to keep mobilizing, and that would mean educating the masses and exposing all of this. And then the second thing is the holding them accountable. Because one thing that we know for sure is that a liar will only lie. After time has gone, he'll have to conjure more lies. And that is where we get them. They have no strategy. Ni hiyo tu promise. We don't want promise. We want facts. You say you're going to do this. We want to hear how. We want to hear when. And when that time comes, we want to see the results. Otherwise, bro, ishia. That is all I have for now. Thank you, guys.
Okay, nice. Can we have a lady?
Kimuzi inaweza ongea.
Yeah, a lady can go next.
Okay.
Any